guys.
Totally unexpected. I was perfectly healthy.
Tumors resurfaced. George now has stage 4 cancer. Family of 9 is now living off disability and Barbara's single income as a teacher's aide.
After uncovering 5 adopted children are no longer in the home.
Within a year, they say all 5 adopted children were gone from the house.
My brother and sister's 5 years old. How can they get in that much trouble where you have to kick them out?
Looking back, they believe their adoptive parents, Devonda and James Friday, were motivated by just one thing.
I know it was all about the money. From the first day, it was all about the money.
That's all she's about, money.
It was one of the greatest days in her life. Arlene Nicholas's home was completely transformed on ABC's Extreme Makeover Home Edition back in 2008.
Oh, look at the kitchen, you guys, look.
Now, 9 years later, her dream home has become a nightmare.
We've been evicted.
We were there as she scrambled to pack her furniture and personal belongings out of the 3,200 square foot house in Holt, Michigan. A moving van was parked out front as the family scrambles to gather all that they can.
The sheriff could show up at any moment right now, and we would have to leave whatever's left behind.
A Las Vegas family featured on Extreme Makeover Home Edition is under scrutiny after questions are raised about their little girl's medical condition.
Holding the Serta family a new dream home.
For our family, it just means so much to us that everybody stepped out and did this for us.
The Sertas said their little girls had combined immune deficiency disease, even wearing masks to protect against mold and mildew in their old house. But neighbors had their doubts.
She goes, there's nothing wrong with those kids.
She should have never gotten the house.
Neighbors on this street report seeing 2 normal girls. The Sertas could no longer afford to keep it, so they put it up for sale and moved to Oregon. It was there that they came under scrutiny. This January, the Oregon Department of Human Services began investigating the Sertas after a doctor there came to them. He believed the Serta girls weren't that sick and were receiving medicine they didn't need.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me here, and go into a deep dive about this show and how it was very problematic, because I've been seeing YouTubers talk about the Nickelodeon channel, Nickelodeon TV stars that were on the show, Disney Channel and all the Disney Channel shows and the TV stars, and how some of the producers of the shows are creepy and how problematic the shows were, etc. So I wanted to talk about this show that I grew up with, Extreme Makeover Home Edition. So let's get started into this video. So what was the show about? The show Extreme Home Makeover Home Edition was about people who were struggling in some way. They would get a house makeover. The program was known for its heartwarming stories as well. Families struggling financially, widows, parents of children with health issues, and more would all get lavish home remodels, free of charge, courtesy of the design team. So why was the show canceled? So this show was canceled with a 9-season run and over 15 million views per episode. Extreme Makeover Home Edition used to be one of the most well-regarded, well-seen, well-known reality TV shows on air of its time. Yet in December of 2011, ABC News announced the end of the Extreme Makeover Home Edition. The popular show's final episode aired on January 13th, 2012 on its 200th episode, in which the design team sponsored tornado victims, building 7 houses over the span of a week. Low ratings played a huge part in this. While Extreme Makeover Home Edition once garnered massive amounts of views on TV viewers every week, it quickly saw a steep drop in ratings. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the show struggled to retain viewers after ABC News removed it from its Sunday night slot to Friday night. With a steep decline of viewers, a less prime airing spot, and increasing competition from other reality TV shows such as Kitchen Nightmares and scripted dramas, Extreme Makeover Home Edition was rapidly heading towards its final decline and its impending cancellation. Perhaps it was the fault of the network's decision to change its airing time, who knows? Or perhaps it was the fault of the show's controversy surrounding the quite negative impact it reportedly had on the lives of its contestants after the fact. So that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. The good, the bad, and ugly of the show. So first off, with the good, yes, some of the families to this day probably still do live in their houses that were built for them. and it really did help them when they were struggling. However, I feel like the majority of victims on this show don't even live in the houses created for them anymore for different reasons, and that's why I mainly want to talk about the show, because I feel like the show is very, like, typical capitalism, like profits over life, so that's why I'm making this video. So on to the negatives and the ugly of the show. Contestants were left struggling because of capitalism, pretty much. The real reason Extreme Makeover Home Edition was so rapidly heading towards its downfall, though, was really due to the reality of the aftermath of the show and the shockingly negative impacts it allegedly had on its contestants' lives. Well, it was heartwarming, to see the contestants' reactions on TV when they moved the bus to see their gorgeous new homes, fit with every amenity, luxury, and designer saw fit. It was not long after shouting, "Move that bus," that the actual reality of the situation would set in. With the new luxury mansions came a sharp increase in taxes, bills, and upkeep costs. This show was giving away mansions to people who couldn't even afford their own children. Like, that's crazy. In fact, this became such an issue that the HGTV reboot has addressed it. Lauren Rutch, HGTV's production and development VP, told US Today that the reboot will focus on celebrating families rather than exploiting situations. "We want to make sure we help with their lives after Extreme Makeover." That was the main problem with this whole entire show. They built homes and mansions for people who barely made a living wage or were middle class and couldn't afford a mansion. They weren't capitalist pigs. They weren't rich, so how are they supposed to afford a fucking mansion if they're not capitalist pigs? No one should be even owning a mansion, honestly. Here are some examples of the downfall of the show via the victim stories. Case 1, foster kids say a couple ditched them after getting Extreme Makeover Home Edition. A pair of foster kids who used to live with a North Carolina couple who were featured on the hit TV show Extreme Family Home Makeover Home Edition claims their parents put on a show for the producers, and it was all act. They were like professional actors, and then kicked out all 5 of their adopted children once the camera stopped rolling. In 2011, Dante and James Friday of Lincoln both made it on the Extreme Makeover Home show after producers learned of their 7 kids and nonprofit organization called House of Hope. 5 of the children were adopted, including Chris and his biological sister, Kimba, who was 14 years old at the time. How these parents sent the kids away just a few months after recording the episode for the TV show. Now that they're adults, the children can all agree that their parents were ultimately driven by greed, and they wanted to live in a big house and have like fancy cars and stuff like that, and like a luxury lifestyle. The couple also allegedly used the Sears gift cards on themselves instead of their own children that they were claiming to love so much. Case 2, Extreme Makeover Home Edition, duped by family sick child abuse claims. Chuck and Terry Carter are the parents of Molly and Maggie, 10 years old and 8 years old, respectively at the time. Terry, in her appeal to the show, said she suffers from a combined autoimmune deficiency disease. That was before Extreme Makeover Home Edition transformed their abode, aka their house, in March 2009 into a new home that included high-quality air filtration systems, an elevator, solar-heated swimming pool, a gourmet kitchen, and floor-to-ceiling stone fireplace. But it basically turned out that these people could not afford the increased cost of living. So by the fall of 2009, their house was for sale, and the family moved to Oregon. Basically, long story short, after they moved out of their house, people started questioning their story, like doctors and stuff. And it actually turned out the mother lied about her daughter's illnesses, and actually had to go to court for alleged medical child abuse. So she basically scammed the show. Case 3. After the death of her husband, Arlene Nicholas won a Extreme Family Home Makeover Home Edition for her and her 3 sons. Her late husband, Tim, had just passed away after a 7-year fight against hepatitis C, which he thought was have to contracted after a contaminated needle while working as a nurse at a hospital. The Lansing State Journal reported that the state and bank officials reduced the home's original mortgage from $140,000 to $30,000 and significantly lowered the interest rate as well. After the makeover, however, the home's annual taxes increased from $2,000 to $7,500 in just a year. A car accident in 2010 set the mother back, making it more difficult to pay her mortgage on time and stuff, and from then on it became impossible for her to catch up, and by 2017 the house had been foreclosed on and the family was forced to leave before the police showed up on an Inside Edition episode. There's another case. Eric Herbert and his family renovated after becoming a caretaker to his late sister's twins. Unfortunately, after appearing on the show, he became overwhelmed by the increased bills, and the utility bills reportedly tripled after the family of 3 moved in. A little over 3 years after the fact, they were forced to leave their home after difficulty on payments. And there's another example. Take the Harvey family, for example. Their episode aired in 2005, featuring a over 4,000 square foot house in the Extreme Makeover Home Edition. He designed the house for the family. However, it went into foreclosure and was auctioned off only 6 years later. The St. Augustine record states that the Harveys only received the house from the show, not any financial assistance or money, leading to its eventual foreclosure on the house. Another case, the Oatman family seemed like the perfect candidates for the home makeover and fresh start. Debbie Oatman was a single mother raising 4 sons, 3 of whom were adopted. 2 of her adopted sons were diagnosed with HIV. Long story short, the mother continued after the fact of the home being built. She continued to have an awful personality, awful outbursts. Even after the remodel of her home, after leaving the brand new home, the Higgins children hired a lawyer to file a lawsuit against the Extreme Family Home Makeover, and long story short, I think the case is dismissed. Another victim was in 2010. The Simpson family was chosen by the Extreme Makeover Home Edition team to have their houses renovated to fit their family's growing needs. The couple's youngest child, Zoe, was born with Hype Drops Phillies, a serious fetal condition with a 50% survival rate. To accommodate her special needs, the Extreme Makeover Home Edition team incorporated a therapy room just down the hall from his brothers and sisters that include cork flooring and visually stimulating features to assist with his cognitive and motor development. Despite the house being perfect for the family's needs, again, the increase in bills, taxes, etc. became too great, and by 2012, the family decided to put the house up for sale. Another victim, the Jake Boo family 12, received a much-needed home makeover in 2007, and long story short, it is unknown to the public if this family still even has the house or have been able to keep up with the significant increases in bills. 2 more victims were the Sadie Holmes family, struggled with cocaine and heroin addiction for 17 years. Eventually, she got sober and regained custody of her 5 children and turned her life around, got clean. And 2006, Holmes was selected by the show, and the crew rebuilt her home and transformed the 900 square foot home into a mansion with an office space. Unfortunately, the cost of running her nonprofit became too great, and the whole mortgage and all that, no offers were made on the house, and it was foreclosed on in 2012. And the last victim I'm going to be talking about is Larry and Melissa Beach. They raised and fostered over 85 children, according to the Houston Chronicle. After Hurricane Ike destroyed their family home, the couple was forced to live with themselves and 15 children in a single-family trailer. The crew built an 8-bedroom home with enough space for the couple and their children to live comfortably. Soon after the home was built, however, the couple lost their 2-year-old daughter, Mercy, after she suffered a seizure. The couple found the increasing property taxes too much for them to keep up with. It's costing us more to live here than it would to be to sell it, Larry told the Houston Chronicle, and I think long story short, they ended up selling the house or something. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye guys, see you next video.